Good morning. Hey, welcome to part 8 in our series titled The Happy Life. Glad you could join me today. Kind of not necessarily wrapping up because we're only halfway through this series, but we're kind of putting a nice little bow package on the last few days today. I think you'll see what I mean. Yesterday we talked about fear. Okay, the day before that we talked about relying on God and how if we don't rely on God, we're dealing with trials and tribulations. And the day before that, we talked about being confined into our cage of comfort, which I just love. I still can't get over that. I probably have to dive in deeper on that. But what we're talking about today is how to break free from these things. Okay, how to get free from fear, how to get free from being confined by our thoughts, being confined in our own little head, being confined in our cage of comfort, okay? And I wrote this down. I wrote fear plus your cage of comfort equals solitary confinement. Now, what is solitary confinement? That is removing someone from society. That is putting them alone with no physical contact, no contact with any other human for a period of time. That is extremely lonely. It is extremely depressing. It's just terrible. I mean, really, it just breaks people down. So, why would we do that to ourselves? Why would we allow fear and being comfortable in our cage to take us to this point of solitary confinement? I want to break free of that. I want to break you out of that. I want you to see how getting out of that can make you happy. It could help you. That's what we're talking about today. So, how does this happen? You get in this situation, and it happens piece by piece. You don't even realize you've done it to yourself till one day you go, I don't have no friends. I don't have any contact. I want to talk to people, but I can't because I don't know no one, and nobody knows you. You go somewhere and nobody talks to you because they don't know you, right? You go to church, just put it this way, you go to church time and time again, but you don't get involved. You never talk to anyone. You go, you sit, you worship, the Lord speaks, you're like, yay, you get in your car, you leave. You never talk to anyone. You don't know anybody. Nobody knows you. And you're in solitude, to be perfectly honest. Is it their fault because they didn't come talk to you? Or is it your fault because you didn't go talk to them? It's both. Okay? So you've put yourself in this place of solitude. And it just happens. I was at church last night and the pastor said this line and it really stuck with me. He said, and it just left my head. He said, if you weren't here for 3 weeks, would anybody notice? Would anybody notice if you weren't here? I can honestly say that at the church I've been attending, no, they wouldn't notice. Why? Because I haven't been there in probably a month and nobody noticed. That's my fault. I'll be honest. That's my fault. I haven't got involved. Okay? But how do we break this? Okay? How do we break this? I'm getting off topic and I'm sorry. First things first. We have to realize what it is. Okay? It is not, I'm going to tell you what it's not. It is not an acceptance or approval of physical things. Okay? It is not, a new car or a new truck is not going to make you, it's going to make you physically happy, but it's not going to break this. It's not going to relieve the fear. It's not going to expand the cage of comfort. You just have this new toy in it now. Okay? You're going to feel good about yourself, but it's going to diminish, I promise. Especially when the payments start rolling in. A new motorcycle, same thing. You're going to be happy for a little while. Okay? It's not going to change anything in the overall situation. Going out to eat a nice steak dinner, yeah, it's going to taste good. You're going to love it, whatever. Again, physical. Okay? It is not a physical happiness. All right, that's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about can be found in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12, and it says this. It says, "We are not fighting against flesh and blood enemies, but against evil rulers and authorities of the unseen world, against mighty powers in the dark world, and against evil spirits in heavenly places." When we're talking about fear, when we're talking about your cage of comfort, when we're talking about the trials and tribulations that you go through in life, we're talking about spiritual warfare. We're talking about the battle that rages in your mind. That battle in your mind is played out in your actions. It is played out in the way you present yourself, in the way you go visit people, in the way you talk to people, and the light that you shine. You understand? I hope so. So how do we change it? Right? How do we change our mind? How do we empower our mind so that we have the upper hand in the battle against evil rulers, against authorities of the dark world, against spirits in heavenly places? These are powerful beings. How do we gain the upper hand? The answer can be found in the book of John. John chapter 8, verses 31 and 32. Jesus says this. He says, "You are truly my disciples if you remain faithful to my teachings, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. People love to quote that, but what they always tend to forget, or usually tend to forget, is the first part. Okay? You're truly my disciples if you remain faithful to my teachings. Now, what does that mean? That means the only way to know the truth is to read the truth. The only way to know the truth is to be faithful and obedient to the truth. Your word, the Bible. Okay? You need to get in Scripture. Why? Because that is truth. Jesus Christ said it himself. He says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody comes to the Father except through me." Not me, Jesus. Okay? If you're going to know the truth, if you're going to know Jesus Christ, you need to know Scriptures. How many of you can quote Scripture? How many of you can quote Scripture? Well, we can say John 3:16. "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. Whosoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life." Woo, woo. You need to know more than that. You need to know more than that. Now, I am the world's worst at remembering Scripture. I am not going to lie. I am terrible at it. That's why I have notes. That's why I take notes, okay? Because I can't remember Scripture. I gotta do better. I gotta do better. I gotta figure out how. But I don't want to be done there. I got one more verse for you. Philippians 4, verse 8. Going a little long today, but that's okay. Philippians 4, verse 8 says this. It says, "Dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true. Fix your thoughts on what is true, honorable, right, and pure, and lovely, and admirable. Think about these things that are excellent and worthy of praise." Fix your thoughts on truth. So, if we want to defeat fear, if you want to cast out fear, if you want to cast out the trials, the dim light when trials come, if you want to cast out the cage and you want to break free, my daily drink for you today is this. You need the truth in order to be free. Unlock your cage. Memorize Scripture however you can. However it is. If it's reading, if it's use postcards. Write the Scripture on postcard, put it on your mirror, carry it with you, hang it in your car, whatever. I don't know. Look up ways. When I was in college, I took classes. I had one class that the teacher lectured. Everything came from the lectures, nothing came from the book. I had a hard time because I couldn't retain it fast enough. So what did I do? I went and I put a microphone and I recorded the lectures. Then, over the course of the next week or two until the test, I would listen to the lectures on my iPod while I was riding my motorcycle. I would just listen. I would re-listen to them over and over and over and over again until I learned them. When I decided I wanted to learn the Apostles' Creed, I went and found a song by Brandon Heath of Third Day called Creed. It was a remake of a Rich Mullins song by the same title. But it is the Apostles' Creed set to music. A few changes here and there. Beautiful song. I love it. Look it up. But I played that song literally on repeat over and over and over and over for a week, and I learned the Apostles' Creed. I memorized it. Why? Because I'm an audible learner. I know that. I can't really read and retain, but I can audibly listen on repeat and retain things. That's how I learn. You have to learn how you learn. You have to figure it out. But memorize Scripture. Okay? If you want to be free from fear, if you want to have the light of Christ, if you want to shine, then you need to know the truth because it will set you free. Find a way. Unlock your cage of comfort and see how truly happy you become. That's my daily drink for today. Go memorize some Scripture. Y'all be blessed, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.